Are you a UK company director? Do you feel that all the financial responsibility for your company sits with you? Do your team actually understand the finances in your business? Or does that sit with the accountant or perhaps the finance manager? In this video, we're going to explore how you can potentially get your team more involved in the finances of your business so that they understand the consequences of their actions. Your team will already be making potentially financial decisions. So, they can be doing things like raising invoices, approving suppliers, perhaps entering timesheets. All of these things have financial implications and financial consequences, but a lot of the time, people just don't understand what those consequences are. So the first thing to do is start with the basics. Share the big picture with your team. Perhaps talk about the revenue, perhaps talk about sales in your business. Most people understand that. It's quite a simple measure. The number of invoices that you're raising, how that is progressing and the progress you're potentially making. And then perhaps move on, talk about gross margins. So what that means is your sales less your cost of sales and how much you're potentially making on those sales. But your team probably don't understand these terms. So it's important you sort of sit them down, just take them through very basic position. And also explain to them the shape of the finances in the business. So if there's good news out there, if there's bad news, don't be afraid of sharing that big picture view with them so they feel more empowered or more involved in the company finances. Next point, empower decision making. So let them make their own decisions and let them understand what the consequences are of those decisions. So if they have got a particular area they look after, perhaps it's the marketing area, then talk about the marketing budget, make them accountable for that budget. And then they understand what they've got in that pot, how much they can potentially spend, and also come up with ways of potentially improving that return on investment on that marketing spend so they're actually generating higher returns and feeling more accountable for what's going on within that budget pot. Similarly, if you've got profit centres, if you've got sales staff, for example, that are looking after particular areas, make sure that their KPIs and their targets are linked back to the company financials. Don't build sales targets in one area and have a completely different view for your sales forecast. The two should be fundamentally linked together. Next thing, make sure you celebrate the financial wins as well. So if you are, if you do have success and the business is going well, make sure the staff really understand what that success looks like. Perhaps you've won a new customer, generated a new order. All of those sort of things should be celebrated, and make sure the staff are aware of that and that they understand the financial consequences. So we've increased, we've got a new order in, we've increased our sales by X%, and then the staff starts to feel part of that process and a bit more bought into the finances of the business. And the last point is, make sure you're using the right tools. So some great tools out there now, digital accounting tools, which will give you a lot of the information that you need. Because part of this is also making sure that the team can see the numbers in a timely way. It's no good giving them the numbers, after the period is finished, or a long way down the line. We need to be, giving the team real-time numbers so they can see what's really going on in the business. Your accountant will do your accountants probably several months after your year end. That's too late. You need to be doing set of management accounts at more regular times, and then potentially sharing some of those key numbers with your team members so they can understand how they are performing in terms of their areas. So there are key tools out there. We use one in the business called Fathom Analytics. Sift Analytics is another one. All of these things can provide information from your accounting system, extract that information, and then you can use that to discuss those outcomes with your team so they can understand how the business is performing and also how their part of that impacts the overall business. So I hope that's been useful. If it has, please like and subscribe to our channel.